Good morning and Happy New Year to all. Welcome commissioners, CDE staff, and members of the public. I'm Lily Jarvis, and as a former member of the Instructional Quality Commission Executive Committee in 2022, I call this meeting to order. Public comment on today's meeting agenda items may be provided during the meeting either in person or by signing up on the sheet located at the back table or by dialing 667-770-1523 and then following the prompt to provide a participant access code. Callers will then be added to a queue. The operator will notify callers when it's their turn to provide public comment. If possible, we recommend that members of the public who are dialing in for public comment continue to view the live stream of the meeting for a better understanding of the meeting status. When it's your turn to speak, please mute your livecast audio. When giving public comment, please state the following: the commenter's first and last names, the organization's affiliation, if any, then make your public comment. Again, the phone number is 667-770-1523. The access code is 651905. The number and the access code will also be announced at the start of public comment for each item. This is also outlined on the January 25th, 26th, 2023 IQC agenda posted on the IQC webpage. It is my pleasure now to introduce our new State Board of Education appointed commissioners to the IQC. Jennifer Hicks, Janet Lanning, Alicia Raigosa, Ku Vang, and Erica Zepeda. They received the oath of administration yesterday. Commissioners, would you like to say a few words?
I'd just like to say, how honored and excited I am to be working with the commission. So I look forward to a year of, very productive work, and I'm just really excited to be here. So thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. Like my colleague commissioner, I am very excited to be here and looking forward to serving the children and families across California and having a year that is full of productivity.
I would also like to say that I'm honored to be here, and I am proud to sit among a dais with such talented educators.
Good morning. Erica Zepeda, and thank you so much, and again, as well as my colleagues and fellow commissioners, the honor to serve California students and families.
Good morning. It is a great honor. I am very excited about this work, and I just can't, get ready to start doing the good work. So thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. Now I will introduce each commissioner participating in today's meeting. When I call your name, unmute your microphone and confirm your attendance, then mute your microphone again. Commissioner Cristina Andre.
Present.
Commissioner Mariana Astorga Almanzar. Commissioner Anita Friedman.
Present.
Commissioner Lindsay Gotanda.
Present.
Commissioner Charisse Guerra.
Present.
Commissioner Jennifer Hicks. Myself, Commissioner Lily Jarvis, present. Commissioner Janet Lanning.
Present.
Commissioner Neil McGaffey.
Present.
Commissioner Alicia Raigosa.
Present.
Commissioner Nikki Reina Guerra.
Present.
Commissioner Ku Vang.
Present.
Commissioner Marcy Winnower. Commissioner Kimberly Young.
Present.
Commissioner Erica Zepeda.
Present.
Student Commissioner Mira Chacradeo.
Present.
Assembly Member James Ramos. Senator Bill Allen. Now it's time to move on to salute our flag. Student Commissioner Chakradale will now lead us in the salute to the flag.
Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Student Commissioner. The next item on the agenda is item C, overview of today's agenda. I'd like to welcome everyone to our first in-person meeting since April 2022. It's nice to see everyone's faces this morning. Yesterday, we conducted an orientation that provided an opportunity for new and returning commissioners to learn and reflect upon the Commission's policies, procedures, and goals. Next on the agenda is the election of the chair, vice chair, and the additional 3 members of the executive committee. These elections are conducted by our executive director, Dr. Mike Torres. Now I turn the gavel over to him.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Jarvis. The elections for the 2023 Commission Chairperson, Vice Chairperson, and Executive Committee shall be separate elections conducted in that order according to Robert's Rules of Order, with nominations that are made from the floor. The election shall be by a majority vote of voting members. The chairperson and the vice chairperson must receive a majority of the votes cast in order to be elected. And the 3 executive committee members will be the 3 nominees who receive the most executive committee votes. In cases where there are more than 2 candidates for chair or vice chair and no one receives a majority of the votes cast, then the 2 candidates the 2 candidates with the most votes shall continue to the next round of voting. The candidate with the most votes in the second round will be elected. No one may be a candidate without being present at the meeting without one's consent. And per the bylaws, terms of office shall be 1 year, re-electable, except that the commission chairperson may not serve more than 2 successive terms. Is there any discussion? All right. I will now begin by taking nominations for chair. Commissioner Andre.
I'd like to nominate Commissioner Jarvis for chair.
Thank you. Am I good on wait time? So do I have all the nominations? Do all nominees accept the nomination?
Yes.
All right. So since there is only 1 nomination for chair, the election is by acclamation, and we have a chairperson. Congratulations, Chair Jarvis. I will now take nominations for Vice Chair of the Instructional Quality Commission. Commissioner Young.
I would like to nominate Commissioner Lindsay Gotanda for Vice Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Young. Commissioner Jarvis.
I'd like to nominate Commissioner Christina Andre for the Executive Committee.
For clarification, this is for Vice Chair.
Yes, for Vice Chair.
Thank you. So do I have all the nominations? Do all nominees accept the nomination?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So at this point, we will take a vote. So all those in favor of electing Commissioner Gotanda as vice chair, please raise your hand. Thank you. And all those in favor of electing Commissioner Andre as vice chair, please raise your hand. Thank you. Denise, would you like to announce the results?
Commissioner Gotanda is vice chair.
Congratulations, Commissioner Gotanda. All right, I will now take the nominations for 3 executive committee members. The executive committee is elected to advise the commission chairperson in the performance of his or her duties in relation to the commission. Commissioner Gotanda?
I would like to nominate Commissioner Young to the executive committee, please.
Thank you, Commissioner Gotanda. Commissioner Young?
I would like to nominate Commissioner Christina Andre to the executive committee.
Thank you, Commissioner Young. Commissioner Andre?
I'd like to nominate student member Mira Chakradeo for the executive committee.
Thank you, Commissioner Andre. Commissioner Jarvis?
I'd like to nominate Charisse Guerra.
Thank you, Commissioner Jarvis. So at this time, do I have all the nominations for executive committee? Do all the nominees accept the nomination?
Yes.
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 Yes. Thank you. So at this time, we're going to vote. All those in favor of electing Commissioner Young to the executive committee, please raise your hand. Thank you. All those in favor of electing Commissioner Andre to the executive committee, please raise your hand. Thank you. All those in favor of electing Commissioner Chakradeo to the executive committee, please raise your hand. Thank you. And all those in favor of electing Commissioner Guerra to the executive committee, please raise your hand. Thank you. So at this point, Denise will announce the results.
Commissioners Young, Andre, and Guerra are on the executive committee.
Thank you so much, Denise, and congratulations, Commissioners Young, Andre, and Guerra, for being elected to the executive committee. I now turn the gavel over to you, 2023 Commission Chair Jarvis. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, Executive Director Torres. It is with great honor and humility that I serve nearly 6 million public school students and more than 10,000 schools in this wonderful state. As I assume this position, I do so with a heavy heart, thinking about the grief and mourning that has hit so hard, so close to home. I ask that my fellow commissioners, CDE staff, and members of the public, join me as we take a moment to silently honor and mourn the tragic loss of lives and injuries over the past week in our state and in the city of Monterey Park, one of the cities in which I serve. Thank you. Now we will move on to the order of business. As we will start with the approval of the November 16th, 2022 IQC meeting minutes. The public comment for this agenda item is now open. Please follow the instructions on the screen if you would like to give public comment on the minutes. You all have the minutes of the November 16, 2022 IQC meeting before you. If you have any substantive changes, please present them now. If there are any minor changes not affecting the content, please email those to Denise Figueroa, IQC Liaison. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Is there a second to the motion?
I second the motion.
I'm sorry, who said that?
Commissioner Winower.
The motion has been made by Commissioner Guerra, and the motion has been seconded by Commissioner Winower. Is there any discussion on the motion? Do we have public comment?
There's no public comment.
The public comment line for this item is now closed. Now I will call for a vote. All in favor? Raise your hand. All opposed? Any abstentions?
The motion passes.
Thank you. Next is item 1F, the chair's report. Although I don't have a formal report prepared this morning, there are a few things that I'd like to say. First, I'd like to thank the Seaford staff for yesterday's in-person orientation and for providing an opportunity for the new commissioners and existing commissioners to come together. It goes without saying that in-person meetings really provide an opportunity for relationship building and for that in-person synergy that one cannot get from virtual meetings. I'd also like to just welcome all of the new commissioners, and I hope that as you begin your 4-year term, that you find your voice in the work that is before you, and I wish you very, very well. And finally, I noticed that physical education and ELA and ELD frameworks are not some of the work of this year, and so there's a disappointment there, but an excitement to continue to move forward the work with the math framework and all of its subsequent actions. And now I will hand it over to Executive Director Torres. I apologize. So now we go over to the report of the Deputy Superintendent. Good morning, Deputy Superintendent Cotton.
Good morning and congratulations. Thank you, Chair Jarvis, and again, congratulations for taking on this important role in the proceedings this year. Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Cheryl Cotton, Deputy Superintendent of our Instruction, Measurement, and Administration branch of the California Department of Education. I'm happy to welcome you back to the boardroom at the California Department of Education as well. I hope yesterday's orientation presentation from the staff and the Curriculum Frameworks and Instructional Resources Division provided the foundation for your work this year, work that is shaped by decisions made in this room. One aspect of State Superintendent Thurman's key initiatives for transforming California schools is the department's continued expansion of resources to support professional learning, which allow educators to keep current on new research on how children learn and thrive. The IQC, in its advisory capacity to the State Board of Education, ensures that LEAs can provide California's educator workforce with access to new curriculum, resources, and teaching methods, keeping teachers up to date on emerging technology tools for the classroom. Your work contributes to that initiative. Additionally, today, you'll consider and approve the 2023 goals, committing yourselves to serving the public in these IQC meetings and supporting the ongoing work of the revised mathematics framework at the request of the State Board of Education. You'll continue this support through your actions to initiate the mathematics instructional materials adoption and do so while maintaining the IQC's advocacy for curricular and instructional needs according to the advisory needs of the State Board, to its constituents in the field and the communities and students they serve. It's my hope that thinking about these goals fills you with optimism as you move to select assignments in the subject matter committees. These may feel procedural, but remember that your actions today create the architecture for the work to come throughout 2023. On behalf of the department, I want you to know, that we are glad it's you who are here to do this work, and we look forward to supporting you in person and virtually when necessary to do this work successfully. Thank you, Commissioners. I turn it back to Chair Jarvis.
Thank you, Deputy Superintendent Cotton. Next is item 1H, the Executive Director's Report. Good morning, Executive Director Torres.
Thank you so much, Chair Jarvis. I'd like to start off with some Seaford updates. Yesterday, you had the opportunity to meet many of our staff yesterday at the orientation. We still do have 2 more vacancies left to fill, and we have high hopes to be able to introduce you to those new members at your next meeting in March. Now I'd like to take a couple of minutes to talk about the mathematics framework and the subsequent instructional materials adoption that you'll be tasked with hopefully this year. For the benefit of our new commissioners, let me start at the beginning, and I'll try to make this as short a story as possible. So work began on the mathematics framework by the IQC in 2019. At its meeting in January of 2021, the IQC did approve the draft for the first of two different 60-day public review periods. That review period, the first one, led to more than 500 individuals and groups submitting comments. At its meeting in May of 2021, the IQC then reviewed the public comment that was received from that first field review. They recommended hundreds of edits, to the framework, and recommended the framework to the State Board of Education pending the completion of the second 60-day public comment period. The second 60-day review and comment period took place earlier in 2022. The second 60-day review period also resulted in a large volume of comments, many including very detailed, actionable suggestions for edits to the draft framework. Just mind you, every single comment received is tabulated, and we received close to 1,000 comments. And that's not an individual line. A comment could be a page that's 100 pages, a comment of 100 pages of actionable or non-actionable edits. So, and we received 1,000 of those. So that's currently the stage that we're at right now with the mathematics framework. The CD, the State Board of Education, and the Region 15 Comprehensive Center are currently working to prepare a revised draft of the framework for State Board of Education action here in 2023. The revised draft addresses many of the critiques and suggestions for improvements suggested by the public during the framework revision process. Once the mathematics framework is adopted by the State Board of Education, the IQC can then begin work on planning and preparing for the mathematics instructional materials adoption. That includes the development of the evaluation criteria, that includes the creation of the schedule of significant events, which has the ultimate timeline for the mathematics adoption and anticipated State Board action on those instructional materials evaluations. I also want to talk a bit about the statewide Model Curriculum Coordinating Council, or council as I will call it. The creation of the council is in response to the 2021 Education Omnibus Trailer Bill. The council's purpose is to oversee the development of 4 new model curricula. That includes the Vietnamese American refugee experience, Cambodian genocide, the Hmong history and cultural studies, and the Native American studies model curricula. All very much needed. The council consists of representatives from the California Department of Education, the State Board of Education, the Instructional Quality Commission, and the California Collaborative for Educational Excellence. The first meeting of this council will take place later this month. So those are CFER's existing projects that may be of interest to the commission. And as you may know, the governor did release, and as Chair Jarvis mentioned, did release the proposed budget 2 weeks ago. I'd like to highlight a couple of items that may be of interest to the Instructional Quality Commission. Although the IQC did not receive funding to start any new curriculum frameworks, there is a line item for an update to the Digital Learning Integration and Standards Guidance that was originally developed in direct response to the pandemic. There's also a line item for the development of a literacy roadmap. But please, please, please keep in mind that the proposed budget is just that. It's proposed. As we all know, the budget may look dramatically different when it's released in May after its revision, and then it may even look even more different when agreed to by the legislature and signed by the governor at the end of the fiscal year. So those are all the updates that I have for you at this moment, and at this point I will hand the meeting back over to Chair Jarvis.
Thank you, Dr. Torres. Next is item 1I, the report of the State Board of Education. Good morning, Vice President Glover Woods and Board Member Lewis.
Okay, I pressed the button correctly. Good morning, good morning. I decided I'd get up so I could see all of your wonderful, wonderful faces. And again, good morning to you. On behalf of the State Board of Education and my fellow board member, Member Brenda Lewis, we are just excited to be part here of the IQC meeting yesterday and today. And before I start with my formal report, let me just give a shout out to Executive Director Torres and the CFERD staff for putting together such a wonderful orientation day on yesterday. I know for all of us as educators, we know what work goes into the outcome of having activities and opportunities to team build and get to know one another, and it landed so very well. So again, Executive Director Torres and the entire CFERD staff, wherever you may be out there, thank you so very much. And Member Lewis and I were just very honored to be in the room with all of you and to be able to interact and have conversation on yesterday. I would like to again say congratulations and hello to all of the new IQC commissioners. We have, of course, Commissioner Lanning, Regosa, Cepeda, Hicks, and Bang. As I'm sure you guys have already figured out, there is much work to be done on behalf of the students in California, and you are well positioned in your seats as commissioners to join this very fine body in doing just that. The work continues and will ramp up even more so as we go into the upcoming years. So let me share with you just a few things that took place at last week's State Board of Education meeting in case you were not riveted and sitting at your seat watching the live stream. I can't say that we go viral there with the State Board of Education meetings, but there were some very important things that did take place. So let me share them briefly with you. First, again, we appointed members to the IQC. Our newest member that was appointed at that meeting was Commissioner Vang, as well as to some of the other commissions and committees. We also had an update on our assessment program, as well as the LPAC assessments as well. And the focus of that really was on the peer review that was done to ensure that everything that we're doing in our assessments are valid, reliable, and all of those different pieces. And I will say the full form of our blueprint for the SBAC in English language arts and mathematics did meet that full review. And we know that there is plans and there will be actions to look at the adjusted blueprint, which is something that is very much desired out in the field to continue. So those will go under peer review as well, but we will continue with the state board actions as they have been in that regard. Another area that we talked about was in relation to the school climate surveys. As many of you know, that is a local indicator that is on our dashboard. So there was a lot of conversation around what that should look like, and most importantly, how to support our LEAs, our districts and charter schools and county offices in capturing that data in such a way that they can look at the overall school climate results, as well as the conversation that took place during the discussion period during that particular item was around how we can better support the disaggregation of that information, because we all know with school climate, the experience of children in schools can vary depending on the student group that they sit in or the student groups that they tend to sit in. So we want to be sure that as our LEAs are looking at school climate, that they're looking at it, of course, overall for the school, but also what it looks like as it relates to different student groups as well. We had a phenomenal update on what is happening for the littles. And so if you're an elementary teacher or you work in those lower grades, you know who the littles are. Our pre-K and our TKers, or transitional kindergartners and pre-kindergartners. Again, a wonderful report was provided just to give us an overview on what it is going to look like for universal pre-K, and under the guise and the purview of the board, transitional kindergarten, as we go to full transitional kindergarten, I believe by 2026. Is that right, Deputy Cotton? Do you recall? I believe it's 2026, but if it's not, please check the board item for accuracy. But we are excited to be able to really, in the state of California, provide opportunity for all 4-year-olds to be able to start their formal education. We know how important that early start is, and much work and conversation and collaboration with the field is taking place in that regard. A couple of other things that happened. We did have some approvals of the career technical education grants that were awarded to many of the districts and county offices and charter schools. And we also did grant approval to the comprehensive, I know it as CSI, I'm trying not to do acronym and alphabet soup for you, but comprehensive support and improvement plans. Those were also approved at the meeting. So as we go forward with the work of the State Board of Education, I will tell you it's very much in alignment with what you have heard already from Deputy Cotton and Executive Director Torres, especially as it relates to the math framework. So I, again, thank you for allowing Member Lewis and I to be in your space here today. We're excited about the meeting, and those of you who will serve on those various subject matter committees, and just know we are here to support and serve, and we again thank you for your time away from your spaces. Thank you very much, Commissioner Jarvis, Chair Jarvis. Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Lewis, would you like to speak?
Thank you, Chairperson Jarvis. I don't have anything to add to the report that Vice President Glover Woods has given, but also just want to ditto the fact that it was an enjoyable day yesterday and was glad to be part of that process. and welcome all the new members, and looking forward to the work of the IQC in the coming year.
Thank you, board members Glover, Woods, and Lewis. Next is item 1J, the 2023 IQC Goals. Our next item on the agenda is to establish IQC goals for 2023. The public comment for this agenda item is now open. Please follow the instructions on the screen if you would like to give public comment on the 2023 IQC goals. The proposed goals. 1. Ensure every member of the Instructional Quality Commission, IQC, understands and adheres to the Bagley-Keene Open Meeting Act. 2. Provide support for the revision of the mathematics framework and any curriculum and instruction content upon the request of the State Board of Education. 3. Provide support for the upcoming mathematics instructional materials adoption. 4. Provide support for the launch events, rollout plans, and professional learning activities associated with curriculum frameworks, model curricula, and instructional materials as appropriate. 5. Ensure that the IQC's priorities reflect the advisory needs of the State Board of Education. And 6, engage and participate in continuous improvement protocol as the IQC works through relevant curriculum and instruction issues. Do we have any discussion, questions, or comments on the goals? Can I have a motion to approve the 2023 goals?
I move to approve the IQC's 2023 goals.
Commissioner Winnower has moved. Is there a second to the motion? Is there any discussion? Do we have public comment?
There is no public comment. Just to confirm, Commissioner Friedman seconded. Is that correct? Thank you.
The public comment line for this item is now closed. I now call for a vote. All in favor? All opposed?
The motion passes.
Thank you. Next is item 1K, review and amend bylaws of the commission. This may not be on your talking points. The public comment line for this item is now open. Please follow the instructions on the screen if you would like to give public comment on this item. I will now turn the meeting over to Executive Director Torres to introduce this item.
Thank you so much, Chair Jarvis. The IQC bylaws were last approved by the State Board of Education in 2009, with technical amendments that were made in 2012. Since then, the bylaws for the IQC have not been revised. With this being the first meeting for the IQC for this year, it feels like a natural time to take a look at all the bylaws as they stand today and consider any amendments that the IQC would like to propose. Now, this is in the agenda as a discussion item with no action. And so the idea is that we would have some discussion on the IQC bylaws at this time. Seaford staff will take copious notes on your discussion and then bring back a proposed set of bylaws at your next IQC meeting for action. The existing bylaws were included in the agenda as a link, as well as a hard copy in your packets for this meeting. Is there any discussion right now on the bylaws? Anything kind of jump out at you?
Executive Director Torres, I'm sorry, where would we find the bylaws? Yesterday's packet?
Yesterday's packet and the orientation packet. And while you're pulling those out, just some things that we might want to consider when looking at the bylaws, since they haven't been changed since 2012, is that there have been some changes that are not reflected in the bylaws, such as the inclusion of a student member, which occurred several years ago, or the provision of virtual meetings while adhering to the Open Meetings Act, as COVID has allowed us to pivot towards, at least with flexibilities from the governor's office. Are we troubleshooting the feedback? Something else to consider, as the IQC is an advisory board to the State Board of Education, yet there doesn't appear to be any language about collaboration between the IQC Chair, the Executive Director, and the State Board of Education liaison.
Executive Director Torres, I have a question. So if there's nothing in the bylaws currently, how does that actually happen? And like, what would we actually say?
That's a good question. So what would actually happen to amend the bylaws?
What is the actual current procedure or protocol?
So the current existing, well, there isn't anything existing in the bylaws to capture that. The collaboration between the IQC, the Executive Director, the IQC Chair, and the State Board of Education.
What I'm trying to ask is what currently happens, even though it's not in the bylaws.
Good question. So what currently happens is that as the Executive Director of the IQC, I do collaborate with the State Board of Education liaison on IQC meetings, and then confer with the IQC Chair as a intermediary between the State Board of Education and the IQC.
In order to make it more efficient, what would be helpful in the bylaws?
I think at this point, the collaboration exists. It's just not documented in the bylaws.
So, Director Torres, would we be as specific as to say, for example, we would like to amend the bylaws and add an additional letter that includes your collaboration with those other officials?
It could be a discussion on either adding a letter or an in general directive or discussion from the IQC to update the bylaws to include more collaboration, include collaboration between the IQC Chair, the Executive Director, and the State Board of Education liaison.
So would we make a motion to amend the bylaws to include that overall?
So at this point, this is a discussion item, and there's no action. And so right now, our Seaford staff is just taking notes on what it is that the IQC would like to see updated in the bylaws.
So then could we add, in that beginning section 2, duties of commission members, where it states the commission consists of 18 members, to also include a student member in that line. And then also in item G, to include where it says that commission members are welcome to attend all committee meetings. Should we add in person or virtual to that line? Maybe that's a suggestion.
I was thinking perhaps we can add it on A, attend all regularly scheduled meetings with a provision for virtual as needed, knowing that our preference as a commission is to be in person.
Thank you.
With regards to the collaboration and the intent of adding language around that, I'm wondering if it would actually go in two places to really reflect that reciprocal relationship between the chair and the executive director. So perhaps something in Roman numeral 5 under the executive secretary director, and then also under the officer section that shares the duties of the chair.
Thank you so much, commissioners. Are there any other thoughts as you have read through the bylaws?
I'd just suggest that that you and the staff review the bylaws to ensure that compliance with current practice and make recommendations to us for our next meeting or whenever you're ready.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Friedman. All right, any other discussion? Commissioner Chakradio?
I was wondering, for the bylaws, there's currently things stated about how subject matter committees are assigned, and they're all being assigned in January, but I was wondering if something could be added in the bylaws to specify how the student member, or when the student member would be assigned to their subject matter committee, since the student member's term starts in September, whereas all the other commissioners start in January.
That's a fantastic point. Thank you.
May I ask if the recommendation would be that the new student member would fill the previous student member's role? Do you have a suggestion on how that would look?
Yes, so currently new student commissioners attend the January orientation even though their term starts in September. So at that time, their subject matter committee preference would be noted, and then it would be assigned in January based on, and it would be assigned in September when their term starts, and whichever committees are open and whichever ones they have, whichever ones they've indicated their preference for as well. So I would just think that would be something helpful to include in the bylaws. It's already a practice, but just having that outlined would be helpful.
Thank you for that clarification.
Also want just to add to that, we have there's very descriptive, there are some descriptions in regards to the positions, and it's outlined very clearly. I'm wondering if it would be a good idea to just add the student representative as another role, and then detailed out their roles and their duties as well, so it's clear and it's transparent to everyone.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Vang. Is there any other discussion on the bylaws? All very good discussion. Thank you. So at this point, thank you for the discussion. Staff have been taking notes, and we will return in March with some proposals to the IQC to review. And I will pass things back to Chair Jarvis.
Thank you for that. Is there any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment.
The public comment line for this item is now closed. Now we will take a brief 15-minute break. Thank you. I call the Executive Committee meeting to order. The public comment line for this committee is now open. Please follow the instructions on the screen if you would like to give public comment on this agenda item. The appointment of the subject matter committee chairs. Commissioners, distributed this morning is a completed chart indicating your committee preferences. I will reference this chart as I make IQC chair selections, and the executive committee will use it as we make committee assignments. Yes, at this moment, I'm going to ask the commissioners who are not on the executive committee to turn over your nameplates. Thank you. After the IQC chair has selected the SMC chairs, yeah, okay. So now we're going to go ahead and assign the chairs. Commissioner Sharice Guerra, are you ready to accept the duties of Chair of the English Language Arts, English Language Development Subject Matter Committee for 2023?
Yes.
Commissioner Lindsay Gotanda, are you ready to accept the duties for the Chair of the Mathematics Subject Matter Committee for 2023?
Yes.
Commissioner Kimberly Young, are you ready to accept the duties for Chair of the History Social Science Subject Matter Committee for 2023?
Yes.
Commissioner Neil McGaffey, are you ready to accept the duties of Chair of the Science Subject Matter Committee for 2023?
Yes.
Commissioner Anita Friedman, are you ready to accept the duties of Chair of the Subject Matter Committee for 2023?
Yes.
Commissioner Christina Andre, are you ready to accept the duties of Chair for the Physical Education Subject Matter Committee for 2023?
Yes.
For the Arts Subject Matter Committee, Commissioner Mariana Astorga Almanzar is not present. However, she has indicated that she would like to serve as chairperson, and I will accept her duties on her behalf as the chair of the Arts Subject Matter Committee for 2023. Commissioner Nikki Reina Guerra, are you ready to accept the duties of Chair of the World Languages Subject Matter Committee for 2023?
Yes.
Commissioner Marcy Winnower, are you ready to accept the duties of Chair of the Education Technology Committee for 2023?
Yes.
Student Commissioner Mira Chacradeo, are you ready to accept the duties of Chair of the Ad Hoc Committee for 2023?
Yes.
Thank you. Now we're moving on to the assignment of members to the subject matter committees. This is an action item. Members of the executive committee, let us consult the survey results and decide on who should serve on each of these committees. Let's start with English Language Arts, English Language Development Subject Matter Committee and work our way across the page.
I have a question. It's 7, including the chair for the ELA?
That is correct.
So it does seem like we have commissioners that have this as their first or second choice, and perhaps starting with them would make sense for this committee, as it's such a large committee of 7 members.
All right, I see that Commissioner Hicks has it as a number 1. Commissioner Raygosa? Commissioner Vang? And Commissioner Zepeda? We need 2 more.
And then perhaps we can add Commissioner Lanning and Commissioner McGaffey.
Okay, so we have our 7. We have our chair, Commissioner Guerra, Commissioner Hicks, Commissioner Raygosa, Commissioner Vang, Commissioner Zepeda, Commissioner Lanning, and Commissioner McGaffey. Okay, math?
I propose we do the same thing.
The 3 commissioners who indicated math as their preference are Commissioner Lanning, McGaffey, and Reyna Guerra.
And then I'd like to propose adding the 3 remaining chairs who had it as their second choice, Winnower, Zepeda, and Andre.
Okay, with Commissioner Gatanda as a chair, then we have Commissioner Lanning, Commissioner McGaffey, Commissioner Reyna Guerra, Commissioner Winnower, Commissioner Zepeda, and Commissioner Andre. Okay, we're going to move on to History, Social Science, 3 members.
Commissioner Friedman has that as her first choice. I'd like to recommend her.
One more?
I'd like to recommend, Commissioner Reyna Guerra.
Okay. Chair Young, Commissioner Friedman, and Commissioner Reyna Guerra for History, Social Science. Moving on to Science. We need 3 members for that, and Commissioner McGaffey is our chair.
From the preference sheet then and our other assignments, perhaps this is Commissioner Regosa would be on this commission, and Winnower. Zepeda. Yeah, Commissioner Zepeda is on two of the other subject matter committees, so perhaps moving those other two for science then.
Will you say that again, Commissioner Young, please?
Sure, sorry, I was unclear. So Commissioner McGaffey is the chair. Commissioner Regosa has this as a preference, as well as Commissioner Winnower. Commissioner Zepeda is on other of the committees that we've already addressed, so perhaps not having that commissioner join this committee.
Thank you. Okay, so we have our members, we have our chair, Commissioner McGaffey, we have members, Commissioner Regosa and Commissioner Winnower. Moving on to health, we need 3 members. Our chair is Commissioner Friedman.
And I would like to recommend Commissioner Hicks and our student member, Shakrado.
Okay, health, Commissioner Anita Friedman is our chair, as I said, Commissioner Hicks and Commissioner Shakradale. Now, physical education. Our chair is Commissioner Andre.
I'll recommend Astorga Almanza.
I'd like to recommend Commissioner Vang. Okay, for physical education, Commissioner Andre is a chair, members Commissioner Astorga Almanzar and Commissioner Vang. We're going to move on to arts. We need 3 members. Our chair is Commissioner Astorga Almanzar.
And then on the preference sheet, we have Commissioner Andre and Commissioner Guerra that's interested.
Okay, for arts, we have as chair, Commissioner Astorga Almanzar, as member, Commissioner Andre, and Commissioner Guerra. Okay, world languages. Our chair is Commissioner Reina Guerra, and we need 3 members.
So 2 other commissioners had listed this committee as their preferences, Commissioner Regosa and Commissioner Vang. Do we need to go back and check the amount of assignments that some of the commissioners are getting at this point?
I think what we should do is finish, and then let's go back to make
Okay.
sure everyone has one, or, yeah. Okay, moving on to education technology. Our chair is Commissioner Winnower, and we need seven members. Is that correct?
Oui.
Okay.
With the commissioners that put it as a preference, we have 7. If we just recommend all of them, which would be Astorga Almanza, Gotanda, Commissioner Guerra, Commissioner Lanning, Commissioner McGaffey, and Commissioner Young.
Denise, would you like me to repeat the names, or you got it?
I got it.
Thank you. And we're moving on to ad hoc. We need 7 commissioners for that. And as a reminder, our chairperson is student member Mira Chacradeo.
Again, if we just take the people who put it as their preference, we would have a total of 7. 8? Commissioner, our Chair Jarvis doesn't count, right? Who are the 8?
But I'm on it already.
Oh, sorry. But Commissioner Jarvis is on all of them, right?
That's right. She doesn't count.
You're making me all like flush. I'm like, I think I counted right.
All right, so I think the ex officio makes me a member of all of them, so it's actually 7. Yeah. Okay. Denise, would you like me to read the names, or are you okay?
I have them.
Thank you. All right, I think we have come to the end of the subject matter committee assignments, and now we're going to move on to other assignments. Now it's the designation of liaisons. It's concurrence committee for the California subject matter projects. All right, the concurrence committee for the California subject matter projects. Commissioner Young. Are you ready to accept the duties of liaison for the concurrence committee for California subject matter projects 2023?
Yes, I am.
Commission Sunshine Club. Commissioner Lanning, are you ready to accept the duties of the Commission Sunshine Club for 2023?
Yes, I am.
Denise, will you kindly read back the assignments for SMC chairs, SMC membership, and appointed liaisons?
For the executive committee, our chair is Lily Jarvis, vice chair Lindsay Gotanda, members Kimberly Young, Christina Andre, and Cherise Guerra. For the ad hoc committee, chair Mira Chacradeo, members Mariana Storgal Mansa, Jennifer Hicks, Nicole Reyna Guerra, Ku Veng, Kimberly Young, and Erica Zepeda. For arts, the chair is Mariana Storgal Mansa, with members Christina Andre and Cherise Guerra. Ed Tech, the chair is Marcy Winower, with members Mariana Storgal Mansa, Lindsay Gotanda, Cherise Guerra, Janet Lanning, Neil McGaffey, and Kimberly Young. For English Language Arts, English Language Development, chair is Cherise Guerra, members Jennifer Hicks, Alicia Regosa, Ku Veng, Erica Zepeda, Janet Lanning, and Neil McGaffey. Health, chair Anita Friedman, members Jennifer Hicks and Mira Chacradeo. History Social Science, chair Kimberly Young, members Anita Friedman and Nicole Reyna Guerra. Mathematics, chair Lindsay Gotanda, with members Janet Lanning, Neil McGaffey,
Nicole Reyna Guerra, Marcy Winower, Erica Zepeda, and Christina Andre. Physical Education, Chair Christina Andre, with members Mariana Astorga Almanza and Ku Beng. Science, Chair Neil McGaffey, with members Alicia Regosa and Marcy Winower. And World Languages, Chair Nicole Reyna Guerra, with members Alicia Regosa and Ku Beng. And the liaisons. The Concurrence Committee for the California Subject Matter Projects is Commissioner Young, and our Commission Sunshine Club liaison is Commissioner Lanning.
Thank you. Now we're going to hear public comment on any items for the Executive Committee. Are there any members of the public wishing to make public comment on this item?
There is no public comment.
The public comment line for this agenda item is now closed. I now close the Executive Committee meeting, and I hand it off to our ad hoc committee on the State Board of Education chairperson.
I call the ad hoc committee to order. The public comment for this, the public comment line for this committee is now open. Please follow the instructions on the screen if you would like to make public comment on matters related to this committee. The members of the ad hoc committee are the members of the ad hoc committee are Commissioner Astorga Almanza, Commissioner Hicks, Commissioner Reyna Guerra, Commissioner Vang, Commissioner Young, and Commissioner Zepeda. If you are a member of the ad hoc committee, please put your nameplate up. If you are not a member, please turn your nameplate down. Our only item of business is the election of a vice chair. So I call for nominations from the floor.
I'd like to move to nominate Commissioner Hicks for vice chair.
Are there any other nominations? Seeing that there are no other nominations, I will now close nominations by acclamation in accordance with Robert's Rules of Order. Commissioner
Hicks.
Commissioner Hicks has been nominated by Commissioner Young to be vice chair of the ad hoc committee. Does this committee approve the nomination of Commissioner Hicks? Yeah, please raise your hand. Commissioner Hicks is now vice chair of the ad hoc committee. Okay. We will now hear public comment on any items for the ad hoc committee. Are there any members of the public wishing to make public comment on this item?
There is no public comment.
The public comment line for this agenda item is now closed. I will now close the ad hoc meeting.
I call the meeting to order in place of Commissioner Astorga Almanzar, the Art Subject Matter Committee. I call the Art Subject Matter Committee to order. The public comment line for this committee is now open. Please follow the instructions on the screen if you would like to give public comment on this agenda item. The members of the 2023 Art Subject Matter Committee are Chairperson Astorga Almanzar, Commissioner Andre, and Commissioner Guerra. If you are a member of the Art Subject Matter Committee, please put your nameplate up. If you're not a member, please turn your nameplate down. Our only item of business is the election of a vice chair for this subcommittee. Please note that only SMC members can nominate the vice chair, and all SMC members, including the IQC chair, are able to vote. I call for nominations from the floor.
I'd like to nominate Commissioner Guerra for vice chair.
Commissioner Guerra has been nominated by Commissioner Andre to be the vice chair of the Arts Subject Matter Committee. Does the committee approve the nomination of Commissioner?
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Guerra is a vice chair of the Arts Subject Matter Committee. Because there is more than, no. Commissioner Guerra has been elected vice chair of the Arts Subject Matter Committee. We'll now hear public comment on any items of the Arts Subject Matter Committee. Are there any members of the public wishing to make public comment on this item?
There is no public comment.
The public comment line for this agenda item is now closed. I now close the Arts Subject Matter Committee meeting, and I hand it off to Education Technology.
I call the Education Technology Committee to order. The public comment line for this committee is now open. Please follow the instructions on the screen if you would like to give public comment on this agenda item. The members of the 2023 Education Technology are Commissioner Astorga Almanza, Commissioner Gatanda, Commissioner Guerra, Commissioner Lanning, Commissioner McGaffey, and Commissioner Young. If you are a member of the Education Technology Committee, please put your nameplate up. If you are not a member, please turn your nameplate down. Election of Vice Chair. Our only item of business is the election of a Vice Chair for this subcommittee. Note that only EdTech Committee members can nominate Vice Chair candidates, and all committee members, including the IQC Chair, can vote. I call for nominations from the floor.
I nominate Kimberly Young.
So Commissioner Guerra nominates Kimberly Young, Commissioner Kimberly Young. Any other nominations? By acclamation, in accordance with Robert's Rules of Order, Commissioner Young has been nominated by Commissioner Guerra to be Vice Chair of the Education Technology Committee. Does the committee approve the nomination of Commissioner Young?
Yes.
Commissioner Young is the Vice Chair of the Education Technology Committee. We'll now hear public comment on any items for the Education Technology Committee. Are there any members of the public wishing to make public comment on this item?
There is no public comment.
The public comment line for this agenda item is now closed. I now close the Education Technology Committee meeting.
I call the English Language Arts, English Language Development Subject Matter Committee to order. The public comment line for this committee is now open. Please follow the instructions on the screen if you would like to give public comment on this agenda item. The members of the 2023 English Language Arts, English Language Development Subject Matter Committee are Commissioner Hicks, Commissioner Lanning, Commissioner McGaffey, Commissioner Regosa, Commissioner Bang, and Commissioner Zepeda. If you are a member of the English Language Arts, English Language Development Subject Matter Committee, please put your nameplate up. If you are not a member, please turn your nameplate down. Our only item of business is the election of Vice Chair for this subcommittee. I call for nominations from the floor.
I call Commissioner Guerra for Vice Chair.
I'm currently the chair. I can't do both jobs.
Are you sure?
I'd nominate Commissioner Zepeda for Vice Chair.
Commissioner McGaffey Commissioner Zepeda has been nominated by Commissioner McGaffey to be Vice Chair of the English Language Arts, English Language Development Subject Matter Committee. Are there any other nominations? Does the committee approve the nomination of Commissioner Zepeda?
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner Zepeda is the Vice Chair of the English Language Arts, English Language Development Subject Matter Committee. We will now hear public comment. Commissioner Zepeda has been elected Vice Chair of the English Language Arts, English Language Development Subject Matter Committee. We will now hear public comments on any item for the English Language Arts, English Language Development Subject Matter Committee. Are there any members of the public wishing to make public comment on this item?
There is no public comment.
The public comment line for this agenda item is now closed. I now close the English Language Arts, English Language Development Subject Matter Committee meeting.
I call the Health Subject Matter Committee to order. The public comment line for this committee is now open. Please follow the instructions on the screen if you'd like to give public comment on this agenda item. The members of the 2023 Health Subject Matter Committee are Commissioner Hicks and Commissioner Chakwadeo. If you're a member of the Health Subject Matter Committee, please put your nameplate up. If you're not a member, please turn your nameplate down. Our only item of business is the election of a vice chair for this subcommittee. I call for nominations from the floor.
I nominate Commissioner Hicks for Vice Chair of the Health Subject Matter Committee.
By acclamation, in accordance with Robert Rules of Order, Commissioner Hicks has been nominated to be Vice Chair of the Health Subject Matter Committee. Does the committee approve? Okay. Commissioner Hicks is elected as Vice Chair. We'll now hear public comment on any items for the Health Subject Matter Committee. Are there any members of the public wishing to make public comment on this item?
There is no public comment.
Public comment line for this agenda item is now closed. I now close the Health Subject Matter Committee meeting.
I call the History, Social Science Subject Matter Committee to order. The public comment for this committee is now open. Please follow the instructions on your screen if you would like to give public comment on this agenda item. Members of the 2023 History, Social Science Subject Matter Committee are Commissioner Friedman, Commissioner Reina Guerra, and myself. If you are a member of the History, Social Science Subject Matter Committee, please put your nameplate up. If you are not a member, please turn your nameplate down. Our only item of business is the election of a vice chair for this subcommittee. I call for nominations from the floor. I nominate Commissioner Reina Guerra for vice chair of this subcommittee. I now close nominations. By acclamation in accordance with Robert's Rules of Order, Commissioner Reina Guerra has been nominated by Commissioner Young to be Vice Chair of the History Social Science Subject Matter Committee. Does the Subject Matter Committee approve this nomination of Commissioner Renaguera? Yes or no? Great. Okay. So Commissioner Renaguera, you are the Vice Chair of the committee. We will now hear public comment on any items for History Social Science Subject Matter Committee. Are there any members of the public wishing to make public comment on this item?
There is no public comment.
Thank you. The public comment line for this agenda item is now closed. I now close the History Social Science Subject Matter Committee meeting.
I call the Mathematics Subject Matter Committee to order. The public comment line for this committee is now open. Please follow the instructions on the screen if you would like to give public comment on this agenda item. The members of the 2023 Mathematics Subject Matter Committee are Christina Andre, Janet Lanning, Neil McGaffey, Nikki Renaguera, Marcy Winower, and Erica Zepeda. If you are a member of the Mathematics Subject Matter Committee, please put your nameplate up. If you are not a member, please turn your nameplate down. Our only item of business is the election for a vice chair for this subcommittee, and I now call for nominations from the floor.
I nominate Commissioner McGaffey.
Any other nominations? I now close nominations by acclamation in accordance with the Roberts Rule of Order. Commissioner Renaguera has nominated Commissioner McGaffey to be the vice chair of the Subject Matter Committee. Does the Subject Matter Committee approve the nomination of Commissioner McGaffey? Yes. Great. Commissioner McGaffey is the vice chair of the Mathematics Subject Matter Committee. We will now hear public comment on any items for the Mathematics Subject Matter Committee. Are there any members of the public wishing to make public comment on this item?
There is no public comment.
The public comment line for this agenda item is now closed, and I now close the Mathematics Subject Matter Committee meeting.
I call the Physical Education Subject Matter Committee to order. The public comment line for this committee is now open. Please follow the instructions on the screen if you would like to give public comment on this agenda item. The members of the 2023 Physical Education Subject Matter Committee are Commissioner Astorga Almanza and Commissioner Vang. Our only item of business is the election of a vice chair for this subcommittee. I call for nominations from the floor. Can I nominate? I'd like to nominate Commissioner Vang for vice chair of the Physical Education Subject Matter Committee. Any other nominations? I guess not. She's not here. By acclamation in accordance with Robert's Rules of Order, Commissioner Vang has been nominated by myself, Commissioner Andre, to be the vice chair of the Physical Education Subject Matter Committee. Does the Subject Matter Committee approve the nomination of Commissioner Vang?
Yes.
Good. Commissioner Vang is the vice chair of the Physical Education Subject Matter Committee. I guess we didn't have to, I skipped something. Sorry, Dr. Torres. Are we okay? Okay. Commissioner Vang has been elected vice chair of the Physical Education Subject Matter Committee. We'll now hear public comment on any items for the Physical Education Subject Matter Committee. Are there any members of the public wishing to make public comment on this item?
There is no public comment.
The public comment line for this agenda item is now closed. I now close the Physical Education Subject Matter Committee meeting.
I call the Science Subject Matter Committee to order. The public comment line for the committee is now open. Please follow the instructions on the screen if you'd like to give public comment on this agenda item. The members of the 2023 Science Subject Matter Committee are myself, Commissioner Regosa, and Commissioner Winower. If you're a member of the Science Subject Matter Committee, please put your nameplate up. If you're not a member, please turn your nameplate down. Our only item of business is the election of a vice chair for this subcommittee. I call for nominations from the floor.
I would like to nominate Commissioner Winnower for the position of Vice Chair for the subcommittee.
I now close the nominations. By acclamation in accordance with Robert's Rules of Order, Commissioner Winnower has been nominated by Commissioner Regosa to be Vice Chair of the Science Subject Matter Committee. Does the Subject Matter Committee approve the nomination of Commissioner Winnower?
Yes.
Commissioner Winnower is Vice Chair of the Science Subject Matter Committee. We'll now hear public comment on any items for the Science Subject Matter Committee. Are there any members of the public wishing to make public comment on this item?
There is no public comment.
The public comment line for this agenda item is now closed. I now close the Science Subject Matter Committee meeting.
I call the World Languages Subject Matter Committee to order. The public comment line for this committee is now open. Please follow the instructions on the screen if you would like to give public comment on this agenda item. The members of the 2023 World Language Subject Matter Committee are myself, Commissioner Regosa, and Commissioner Vang. If you are a member of the World Languages Subject Matter Committee, please put your nameplate up. If you are not a member, please turn your nameplate down. Our only item of business in the election is the election of a vice chair for this subcommittee. I call nominations from the floor.
I nominate Commissioner Regosa to be vice chair.
I now close nominations. By acclamation in accordance with Robert's Rules of Order, Commissioner Regosa has been nominated by Commissioner Vang to be vice chair of the World Languages Subject Matter Committee. Does the Subject Matter Committee approve the nomination of Commissioner?
Yes.
Commissioner Vang is vice chair of the Commissioner Regosa is vice chair of the World Languages Subject Matter Committee. Because never mind. We'll now hear public comment on any items for the World Languages Subject Matter Committee. Are there any members of the public wishing to make public comment on this item?
There is no public comment.
The public comment line for this agenda item is now closed. I now close the World Languages Subject Matter Committee meeting.
Right, everyone, take a deep breath. It's a marathon. As we conclude our first meeting of the year, I'd like to thank everyone for their focus and their attention to this work. And proudly and with great honor, I adjourn our first meeting and my first meeting as your chairperson.